The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Luna Base Alpha was quiet at 300 hours Earth time. Most of the crew were asleep, except for Jack Miller, who sat watching the quantum detection screens with a cup of cold coffee in his hand. His eyes were tired, but 20 years of experience had taught him never to look away from the screens, even for a moment. A small blip appeared on the edge of his display, then vanished. Jack straightened in his chair, suddenly wide awake. He had seen this pattern before, 3 years ago. Back then, they had dismissed it as a sensor error, but Jack knew better now. Computer, replay last 30 seconds of Sector 7. Enhance pattern recognition, he commanded. The screen lit up with a complex web of data points. There it was again, the telltale sign of a cloaked ship trying to mask its presence. Within minutes, Admiral James Walker's personal communicator buzzed in his quarters at Earth Defense Command headquarters. He was dressed and in the command center before the second call came through. "Report," he ordered, looking at the massive display wall showing Earth's defense grid. Red dots were appearing all across the solar system, each representing a location where the quantum sensors had detected anomalies. "Sir," Jack's voice came through clear but tense, "we're tracking multiple signatures. They're using some kind of advanced cloaking technology, but our quantum grid is picking up their gravitational footprint. These aren't natural phenomena." Admiral Walker nodded slowly. They had prepared for this day for 30 years, ever since they found the crashed alien ship in the Arctic. The ship that had given humanity the technological leap it needed to survive what was coming. "How many?" he asked, though he already suspected the answer. "At least 20 ships, sir. They're positioned in a standard observation pattern around Earth. Best guess is they've been there for weeks, maybe months. They don't know we can see them." The Admiral allowed himself a small smile. Humanity's greatest advantage had always been its ability to keep secrets. When they'd recovered the alien technology, the world's leaders had made an unprecedented decision. Everything would be kept hidden. The public would be told nothing. Earth's true technological capabilities would be masked behind a facade of normal development. "Alert the World Council," Walker ordered, "but maintain normal operations. Don't let them know we've detected them." The council chamber was located deep beneath the Swiss Alps, protected by layers of technology that made it invisible to any known form of detection. 12 leaders sat around a circular table, their faces illuminated by the holographic display showing the positions of the alien vessels. "They're testing our defenses," Walker explained to the assembled leaders. "Looking for weaknesses. They don't realize we've been watching them watch us." Council President Robert Thompson leaned forward. "How long until they make their move?" "Based on their current pattern, they're following standard first contact protocols. Their kind always does this: observe a species, assess their threat level, then decide whether to make peaceful contact or begin conquest. And they think we're just another primitive civilization," added Dr. Anna Martinez, head of Earth's Science Directory. "All they can see are our public technologies, conventional rockets, basic AI, early quantum computers. Everything else is hidden behind our quantum camouflage systems." The council members exchanged knowing looks. Earth's true capabilities were far beyond what any outsider could imagine. Fusion reactors powered cities across the globe. Quantum computers more advanced than anything the aliens possessed processed data in secret facilities, and defense platforms armed with weapons reversed engineered from the Arctic ship waited silently in orbit. "Should we reveal ourselves?" Thompson asked. "Show them what we really are." Admiral Walker shook his head. "Not yet. Let them think they have the advantage. When the time comes, they'll learn that humanity isn't the easy target they thought we were." As if to emphasize his point, another series of red dots appeared on the display. More ships were arriving, taking up positions around Earth's orbit. They thought they were invisible, undetectable. They had no idea they were being watched by every quantum sensor in the system. In his office later that night, Admiral Walker looked out at the stars through his window. Somewhere up there, invisible to the naked eye, alien ships were preparing to make first contact with what they thought was a primitive species. They would learn soon enough. Humanity had been ready for them for a very long time. The game was about to begin, and Earth held all the cards. The quantum detection grid lit up like a Christmas tree. Dr. Emma Reed watched as more alien ships appeared on the massive display screen at Earth Defense Command. What had started as 20 vessels had grown to 50 in just 3 days. The aliens weren't even trying to hide their presence anymore. At least, not from each other. "They're talking to each other," Emma said, adjusting her headphones. As head of xenolinguistics, she had spent the last decade studying the communication patterns found in the Arctic ship's database. "And they're getting sloppy." Admiral Walker stood behind her, watching the patterns dance across her screen. "What are they saying?" Emma's fingers flew across her keyboard, running the alien transmissions through detection algorithms she had designed. "It's encrypted, but they're using an old cipher. They think we can't detect quantum communications at all, so they're not using their strongest encryption." The translation appeared on her screen, piece by piece. Asterisk for assessment complete. Species show is nano science of QUANTUM AWARENES. Conventional weapons, only. Recommend proceeding with standard quantity protocivos. Asterisk. Walker smiled. "They think we're blind and deaf." Good. The World Council had gathered again, this time to make a decision that would change human history forever. Operation Looking Glass was about to begin. "The aliens believe they have complete surveillance of Earth," Walker explained to the Council. "They see our cities, our satellites, our visible military assets. Everything we've let them see. Now it's time to show them what they've missed." Council President Thompson nodded. "Proceed with the operation." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, the quantum broadcast array powered up. It had never been used before this day, kept silent and waiting for this exact moment. Engineers checked and double-checked every system. There would be no second chance to make a first impression. "Broadcast array at full power," reported the chief engineer. "Ready to transmit on your command." Walker looked at Emma. "Are you sure they'll understand the message?" "Yes," she said firmly. "We're sending it in their own language, using their own quantum communication protocols, plus 12 other formats, just to be sure. They'll understand." The Admiral took a deep breath. "Send it." The message was simple, just 4 sentences long, but it would be broadcast with enough power to reach every corner of the solar system, on every frequency the aliens used, in ways that would prove humanity's true level of technology. Asterisk, "We see you. We've always seen you. Your ships, your communications, your movements. Nothing is hidden from us. This is your only warning." Asterisk. The effect was immediate. The alien ship's power signatures spiked as their commanders realized their communications had been compromised. Emergency signals blazed across the quantum detection grid as the fleet tried to figure out how their perfect surveillance had been detected. Emma tracked their panicked communications with satisfaction. "They're confused, scared even. They didn't think we had this capability." "Show them more," Walker ordered. The quantum broadcast array sent out a second transmission, the exact coordinates of every alien ship in the system, along with their power signatures, crew complements, and weapon capabilities. Data that no primitive species should have been able to gather. In the council chamber, the leaders of Earth watched the aliens' reaction through their quantum sensors. Some ships began powering up their weapons. Others started to move away from Earth. None of them knew what to do about a species that had just shattered their assumptions. "They'll have to respond soon," Thompson said. "They can't ignore this." Walker nodded. "That's what we want. Let them come to us now, knowing that we're not as helpless as they thought. Let them wonder what else we might be hiding." On screens across the Earth Defense Command Center, analysts tracked the alien fleet's movements. Some ships were already moving into formation, preparing for either combat or formal contact. The game of hide and seek was over. Humanity had just announced its presence on the galactic stage, not as a primitive species to be studied or conquered, but as an equal power that demanded respect. The next move belonged to the aliens, but Earth was ready for whatever they might choose. The alien ships appeared in Earth's sky like stars coming out at sunset. One by one, they dropped their cloaking fields, revealing sleek vessels that gleamed in the sunlight. The world watched through their screens as 50 warships took up positions around the planet, no longer hiding their presence. Ambassador Thomas Gray stood at the window of the space elevator's observation deck, watching the closest ship hover above the Atlantic Ocean. Its hull was covered in strange markings that seemed to shift and change as he watched. "They call themselves the Collective Concordat," Emma Reed said, standing beside him. Her translation software was working overtime to process the flood of alien communications. "They're shocked that we could detect them. They've never failed at covert observation before." The space elevator's conference room had been prepared for this moment years ago. Its walls could block any known form of surveillance, and its quantum shields were strong enough to stop a direct hit from a warship. This was where humanity would meet its first aliens face to face. The alien delegation arrived in a flash of blue light. Their teleporters were impressive, but the humans in the room knew their own technology was better. 4 aliens stepped forward, their bodies tall and angular, covered in what looked like living metal armor. "Welcome to Earth," Ambassador Gray said calmly. "We've been expecting you." The lead alien spoke, its voice translated instantly by Emma's systems. "How did you detect us? Your technology should not be capable of this." Gray smiled. "There are many things we're capable of that might surprise you. Please sit. We have much to discuss." As they took their seats around the conference table, Admiral Walker watched from his command center. Every word, every movement was being recorded and analyzed. The aliens' weapons, their armor, their translation devices, all of it confirmed what they had learned from the Arctic ship 30 years ago. The lead alien, who called itself First Speaker, leaned forward. "Your species has advanced far beyond our projections. How is this possible?" Instead of answering directly, Gray pressed a button on the table. A hologram appeared, showing the crashed ship they had found in the Arctic. The aliens stiffened at the sight. 30 years ago, Gray said, "We found this. One of your scout ships from an earlier observation mission. We learned much from it." "Impossible," First Speaker said. "That ship was destroyed. We made sure of it." "Not quite destroyed enough," Walker muttered from his command center. Gray continued, "We kept it secret. We studied it. We learned. And we prepared for the day you would return." The aliens spoke quickly among themselves in their own language, not realizing that Emma could understand every word. They were discussing how badly they had underestimated humanity, debating whether to proceed with their original plan for conquest. "Let me be clear," Gray said, interrupting their discussion. "We know why you're here. We know about your standard procedures for expanding your concordat. But Earth is not like the other worlds you've encountered." To prove his point, he showed them another hologram, this one of Mars, where human colonies had been hidden underground for the past decade. Then images of Europa, where humanity's deep space ships were being built in secret. The aliens were silent for a long moment. Finally, First Speaker said, "You have been watching us as we watched you." "Yes," Gray nodded. "And we've learned from every encounter you've had with other species. We've prepared. We've adapted. We've grown stronger." The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. The aliens had come expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest or colonization. Instead, they had found equals who had been watching and waiting for them. "What do you want?" First Speaker asked. "The same thing we've always wanted," Gray replied. "Peace, if possible. But we're ready for the alternative if you force that choice upon us." As if to emphasize his point, the quantum shields around Earth flickered into visibility for just a moment. a planetary defense system that the aliens had not detected despite their weeks of observation. The message was clear. Humanity was not helpless, and it was not afraid. The real negotiations were about to begin. First speaker stood at the observation window of the space elevator, looking down at Earth with what humans could only guess was doubt. The alien's metallic armor shifted colors as it spoke. "Your defenses are impressive on paper, Ambassador Gray, but we have seen no proof of these capabilities you claim to have." Admiral Walker's voice came through the secure channel to Gray's earpiece. "They're testing us. Show them." Gray nodded slowly. "Would you like a demonstration?" The alien leader turned to face him. "Yes. Show us these weapons you claim to possess." "Very well." Gray pressed a button on his wrist device. "Admiral, you may proceed." In orbit around Jupiter, hidden behind its largest moon, a single human ship dropped its cloaking field. It was small, barely the size of the alien's smallest scout ship, but its appearance sent waves of shock through the alien fleet's quantum communications. Emma Reed, monitoring their reactions, smiled. They recognized the design. "It's based on their Arctic ship, but better." The small ship powered up its engines. In the blink of an eye, it crossed the distance from Jupiter to Earth, a journey that should have taken days even with the aliens' best technology. "Quantum slip drive," Gray explained casually. "We improved on your original design, made it more efficient." First speaker's armor rippled with colors that Emma's software identified as indicating surprise and concern. "One ship proves nothing." "Of course not," Gray agreed. He nodded to Admiral Walker through the video link. "Show them the rest." Across the solar system, human ships began appearing. From behind Mars, beneath the clouds of Venus, in orbit around Mercury, hundreds of vessels, each more advanced than the last. The alien fleet's sensors went wild trying to track them all. But the real shock came when Earth's orbital defense grid revealed itself. Thousands of satellites and weapon platforms that had been completely invisible to alien scans suddenly appeared, surrounding their fleet in a web of advanced technology. "Impossible," first speaker said. "Our scans showed nothing of this." "Your scans showed what we wanted them to show," Walker said through the video link. "Would you like to see what these systems can do?" At his command, a single defense platform targeted an asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. A beam of pure quantum energy lanced out, and the massive rock simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, but erased from reality itself. The alien leaders spoke quickly among themselves in their own language. Emma's translation software caught fragments of their conversation. "Cannot fight this," and "total defensive coverage," and "technology exceeds our own." Gray let them talk. He walked to a holographic display showing the solar system. "We have more to show you. Our colonies on Mars." The display zoomed in to show massive underground cities, our mining operations in the asteroid belt. Automated machines appeared, harvesting resources, and our research stations around Jupiter. "Why show us this?" first speaker asked. "Why reveal your strength?" "Because we want you to understand something," Gray replied. "Earth is not a target for conquest. We are not a primitive species to be dominated or uplifted into your concordat. We are equals, at the very least." To emphasize his point, more human ships appeared near Pluto, emerging from what looked like tears in space itself. The alien sensors couldn't even begin to understand how they had remained hidden there. Admiral Walker's voice was calm but firm through the video link. "Your entire fleet is currently surrounded by enough firepower to reduce it to atoms. But that's not what we want. We want peace, trade, and mutual respect." First speaker's armor had shifted to a deep blue color that Emma identified as indicating deep thought or consideration. The alien leader looked at the displays showing Earth's true military might, then back at Gray. "Perhaps," it said slowly, "we should discuss terms for peaceful cooperation." Gray smiled. The demonstration had worked perfectly. Now the real negotiations could begin. not as conqueror and conquered, but as equals in the galaxy. 3 hours into the negotiations, alarms blared across Earth Defense Command. Emma Reed's quantum communication monitors lit up with urgent signals from the edge of the solar system. "Admiral," she called out, "they're calling for reinforcements. A lot of them." Admiral Walker watched as new contacts appeared on the long-range sensors. The Concordat was revealing its true strength. Over 200 warships were emerging from quantum space near Neptune. In the space elevator's conference room, First Speaker's armor had shifted to a deep red color. "Perhaps now you understand your situation better, Ambassador Gray. You have impressive technology, yes, but we have numbers." Gray remained calm, even as he received the sensor updates through his secure earpiece. "Do we? Are you certain about that?" He nodded to Admiral Walker through the video link. It was time to show their final hand. Across the solar system, space itself seemed to ripple. Hidden quantum fields that had been running for decades began to deactivate. Every planet, every moon, every significant asteroid suddenly revealed its secrets. Thousands of defense platforms emerged from their perfect cloaking fields. Massive space stations appeared in orbit around Mars and Venus. Shipyards larger than cities showed themselves near Jupiter's moons. And ships, hundreds upon hundreds of human ships, decloaked in perfect battle formation around the alien fleet. First Speaker's armor rippled with patterns that Emma's software couldn't even translate. Emotions the aliens had never expected to feel when confronting a supposedly primitive species. "This is impossible," the alien leader said. "You cannot have built all this in secret." "We've had 30 years, Gray replied simply. 30 years of knowing you would come back. 30 years to prepare, to build, to plan. And we used every second of it." On the main display, the alien reinforcement fleet had stopped advancing. They were clearly detecting the true scale of Earth's defenses for the first time. Emma's translation software caught fragments of panicked communications between the alien ships. "Sir," she reported to Walker, "they're discussing withdrawal options. They've never encountered this situation before." Walker's voice came through clear on the conference room speakers. "Let me be clear, First Speaker. Every ship in your fleet, including your reinforcements, is currently targeted by multiple defense platforms. If you want war, you'll get one, but it will be your last." To demonstrate his point, he activated the Sol system defense grid. A web of quantum energy became visible, connecting every human ship, station, and platform into a single network. The alien sensors showed them the truth. They weren't facing scattered defenses, but a single, unified defense system that could respond instantly to any threat. First Speaker's armor had turned almost black. "How? How did you advance so quickly?" "We had good teachers," Gray said, bringing up a hologram of the Arctic ship. "Your people taught us well, though not intentionally. We learned from your successes and your mistakes." The room fell silent as First Speaker consulted with its fleet commanders through their neural links. The reinforcement fleet remained frozen at the edge of the solar system, unwilling to advance into the web of human defenses. "You understand now," Gray continued, "that we could have destroyed your observation fleet at any time during the past weeks. We chose not to. We chose to talk, to offer peace." Emma's monitors showed the alien communications shifting from panic to something more controlled. "They're reassessing their entire strategy," she reported. "Their military commanders are advising against any aggressive action." First Speaker looked at the displays showing the true extent of human military power, then back at Gray. "You planned this. All of it. You let us think we were in control, only to show us we never were." "Yes," Gray nodded. "Consider it a lesson in humility. Now shall we discuss real peace terms, as equals?" The alien leader's armor slowly shifted back to its normal silver color. Around Earth, the massive alien fleet began powering down its weapons. They had finally understood humanity's message. Earth was not prey. It never had been. The mood in the space elevator's conference room had changed completely. Where first speaker had once shown confidence and superiority, now the alien leader sat quietly, studying the humans with new eyes. The reinforcement fleet hung motionless at the edge of the solar system, their weapons powered down but their sensors still running at full capacity. "There's something else you should know," Ambassador Gray said, breaking the tense silence. He nodded to Emma Reed, who stepped forward with a new holographic display. "We know about the political situation in your Concordat," Emma said, bringing up detailed maps of alien territory. "The internal conflicts between your military and civilian leadership, the growing resistance to expansion through conquest." First speaker's armor flickered with bands of purple, a sign of surprise that Emma had learned to recognize. "How could you know this?" "The Arctic ship contained more than just technology," Gray explained. "It had cultural data, political information, historical records. We've spent 30 years learning everything about you. Not just how you fight, but how you think, how you live." Admiral Walker's image appeared on the main screen. "We also know about the other species you've contacted. The ones who chose to fight, and the ones who surrendered. We know what happened to both groups." The holographic display shifted to show various alien worlds. Some were thriving under Concordat rule, while others had been stripped of resources and left as hollow shells of their former selves. "You give conquered species a choice," Gray continued. "Submit and be absorbed into your Concordat as servants, or resist and be destroyed. But Earth offers you a different choice entirely." First speaker's armor rippled. "What choice is that?" Gray stood and walked to the window, looking out at Earth below. "Accept us as equals, or leave our solar system, and never return. Those are your only options." Emma's translation software picked up a surge of communication between first speaker and the fleet commanders. The aliens were discussing something they had never encountered before. A species that could enforce its demands not through desperation, but through carefully planned strength. "We have reviewed your defensive capabilities," first speaker said slowly. "But the Concordat has rules, protocols. We cannot simply." Gray cut the alien off by bringing up another display. This one showed something that made first speaker's armor turn almost white. Human ships in contact with other alien species, ones the Concordat had never managed to find. "We're not alone in wanting freedom," Gray said quietly. "We've made friends out there, beyond your borders. Species that have helped us, traded with us, shared knowledge with us, all while staying hidden from your patrols." Walker spoke up from the screen. "If you check your long-range sensors carefully, you might notice some interesting energy signatures near your border worlds. Signatures that would match the cloaking technology we've demonstrated here." The threat was clear but unstated. Earth was not just defending itself. It had already begun building a network of allies among the stars. First speaker stood suddenly. "You would start a war, risk everything." "No," Gray said firmly. "We're trying to prevent a war. We're offering you something new. A true alliance. Equal partners in trade, exploration, and defense. But it has to be equal. No conquest. No submission." The alien leader walked to the window, its armor shifting through colors as it thought. Below them, Earth continued its peaceful rotation, its true strength now visible in the orbital platforms and defense satellites that surrounded it. "The choice is yours," Gray said. "But choose carefully. This offer comes once, and our patience is not endless." First speaker turned back to face the humans. "You have given us much to consider. I must consult with our High Council." "Of course," Gray nodded. "You have one Earth day to decide. Choose wisely." As the alien delegation prepared to return to their ship, Emma's monitors picked up one final communication between first speaker and its fleet. "We may have found something far more valuable than another conquest. We may have found a true ally." The next 24 hours would determine the future of both species. 24 hours passed like a slow heartbeat. Earth's defense grid remained fully active, tracking every movement of the alien ships. The reinforcement fleet stayed at the edge of the solar system, neither advancing nor retreating. In the space elevator's conference room, Admiral Walker, Ambassador Gray, and Dr. Reed waited for first speaker's return. "They've been busy," Emma said, monitoring the quantum communications. "Their ships have been talking to their home worlds nonstop. The High Council has voted 12 times in the past day." Walker nodded. "Making the biggest decision in their history can't be easy." Exactly at the appointed time, first speaker's ship appeared outside the space elevator. The alien leader arrived alone this time, its armor glowing with a soft blue light that Emma's software identified as ceremonial significance. "We have reached our decision," first speaker announced without preamble. "The High Council has debated through the night cycle. Many spoke against change. Many feared what accepting your terms might mean for the Concordat." Gray remained silent, waiting. Sometimes diplomacy was about knowing when not to speak. But in the end, first speaker continued, "We could not ignore the truth before us. Your species has done what no other has managed. You saw us coming. You prepared. You turned our own methods against us. And most importantly, you chose not to strike when you could have destroyed us." The alien leader's armor shifted to display complex patterns that Emma's software translated as formal ceremony mode. From a compartment in its armor, first speaker produced a small crystal cube. "This contains the Concordat's formal recognition of Earth as an equal power," the alien explained. "We offer alliance, not conquest. Trade, not submission. And we acknowledge your sovereign control of this solar system." Gray accepted the cube carefully. "And the terms we discussed?" "Agreed to. The Concordat will reform its first contact protocols. No more conquest of developing worlds. No more forced submissions. Your alternative approach has shown us a better path." Walker's expression remained neutral, but there was satisfaction in his voice. "And your fleet?" "Already beginning withdrawal," first speaker confirmed. "Though we would request permission to leave a small diplomatic contingent in orbit, matched by your own ships in our territory." "Of course." "Granted," Gray nodded. He produced Earth's own ceremonial document, a quantum crystal containing humanity's formal acceptance of the alliance. As the two leaders exchanged their diplomatic tokens, Emma's monitors showed the massive alien fleet beginning to break formation. Ship after ship slipped into quantum space, returning home. Within an hour, only 5 diplomatic vessels remained. "There is one more thing," first speaker said. "The High Council wishes to know about these other species you have contacted, the ones beyond our borders." Gray smiled. "All in good time. Trust must be built slowly, wouldn't you agree?" The alien's armor flickered with what might have been amusement. "You humans never show all your cards at once, do you?" "We learned from watching you," Gray replied diplomatically. Later that evening, in Admiral Walker's office, the 3 humans who had managed this historic moment sat watching Earth's sunset. The alien diplomatic ships were visible as bright points of light against the darkening sky. "Do you think they'll keep their word?" Emma asked. Walker nodded. "They know we're watching. They know we have allies they can't detect, and they know we can hurt them if they try anything. Yes, they'll keep their word." "And humanity?" Gray asked. "Are we ready for what comes next? Real interaction with alien species, galactic trade, sharing our technology." "We've been ready for 30 years, Walker said firmly. "Everything we built, everything we prepared, it wasn't just for defense. It was for this moment. Humanity is ready to take its place among the stars." As night fell over Earth, its orbital defense grid glowed softly, protecting the planet while welcoming its first true alien allies. In ships and stations throughout the solar system, humans began preparing for a new era, one where Earth would stand as an equal among galactic powers. The game of hide and seek was over. The real work of building a peaceful future was about to begin.